right? And I may be down and out, but damn it. She pointed at the iPad where the ad still filled the screen. I'm better than this. Yes, you are. Lacey sat in the chair across the table from Andy. But you have to get a job. I'm working on it. She ran a hand through her auburn hair, sweeping it off her nape. She felt bad enough living off her sister as it was. She didn't need the lecture. No, I mean you have to. Lacey's serious tone drew Andy's attention. Shit. It wasn't just her sister's determined look. It was her desperate look. Lacey took a deep breath. I got my hours cut at the studio. Andy's stomach dropped. Oh, Lacey, no! When? Why? As a struggling singer-songwriter, Lacey had been lucky to get a job helping out in a recording studio. It brought steady income when she was between gigs. Not enough work coming in. Darren cut me 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago? And not a word until now? Why didn't you say anything? I don't know. Lacey kept her focus on her hands. Andy knew she'd never been comfortable with expressing her feelings, unless she was singing about them. You're having such a miserable time, and I guess I didn't want to add to it. That's a laugh. You're the only reason I haven't thrown myself under a bus. Andy immediately regretted her euphemism. It was callous to joke about suicide to someone whose boyfriend had died from a handful of pills only a year before. But the words were already out. Don't talk like that. Well, it was a better reaction than Andy deserved. I'm over-dramatizing, I'm sorry. But seriously, Lace, you have been my touchstone through all this mess, and it breaks my heart that you've been the one taking care of me when I should be taking care of you. When Andy had first become destitute and homeless, she'd considered not even telling her sister. Then, besides having no other choice, she realized that moving in would give her a chance to help Lacey cope with Lance's death. Not that Andy had been very helpful. She'd been present, at least. That was something. I don't need taking care of. Ever-independent Lacey actually thought people bought the idea that she was all right. Maybe most people did. Not Andy. Yet Andy would let her believe it if that's what her sister wanted. I know you don't need anyone, but I'm supposed to be the older, more responsible, got-my-life-together one while you're the misfit musician. Instead, I've been living off you for nearly 8 months. 9, Lacey corrected. But who's counting? The gloom of the situation began to settle on Andy. Damn it. With Lacey's hours cut, Andy did have to get a job. Like yesterday. She tugged on her lower lip with her thumb and forefinger. God, I'm such an awful sister. Lacey smacked her on the shoulder a little too hard to be called just a playful hit. Shut up, will you? This is why I didn't tell you. I knew you would make this a reason to shame spiral. That's not what I wanted. Wow. The role reversal of older and younger sister went farther than Andy had realized. She lowered her hand and drummed her fingers on the table, needing to fidget while she brainstormed. Her savings account was depleted. She'd used it up in her worthless attempt at suing her previous employer. Maybe I can dig into my retirement account. Not an option. I'm counting on you to care for me when we retire. Unless I hit it big time, which, at this rate, does not look like it is happening. We'll need that money when we're old. If it had been a typical conversation, Andy would have resented the fact that her sister assumed there would be no men in their lives in the future. It was understandable that Lacey thought she'd never love again. But what was wrong with Andy? Just because she hadn't had a date in... Okay, that was just depressing. It had been too long for her to even recall. Coupled with their financial situation, it made for a really dreary morning. Putting thoughts of her lonely bed aside, she concentrated on the matter at hand. So how bad are we right now?